Atlanta, a bustling metropolis, a hub of commerce, a symbol of Southern charm. Yet beneath its gleaming facade lies a stark reality, a homelessness crisis of alarming proportions. The city streets, once pulsating with progress, now witness the silent struggles of thousands without a home. It is a crisis often hidden in plain sight, masked by the city's outward vibrancy. Official statistics often fail to capture the true scale of the problem. Over 700,000 experience homelessness in the U.S., with Atlanta representing a significant portion. Many remain unaccounted for, living in the shadows, their plight unseen and unheard. The crisis in Atlanta is a human tragedy that demands attention. Behind the numbers are real people with unique stories, each deserving of dignity and a chance to rebuild their lives. They are mothers, fathers, children, veterans, and individuals from all walks of life, united by hardship and the search for a home. As we delve deeper into Atlanta's homelessness crisis, we must confront the human faces behind the figures. Through their stories, we see the complexities of this issue and the urgent need for solutions. Atlanta embodies a paradox, a city pulsating with economic vitality yet grappling with a persistent undercurrent of poverty. It is a place where towering skyscrapers cast long shadows over neglected neighborhoods, where gleaming symbols of affluence stand in stark contrast to the harsh realities of life on the margins. This juxtaposition of prosperity and poverty is at the heart of Atlanta's homelessness crisis. The rising cost of living, particularly the soaring housing market, has exacerbated the affordability crisis. Rents have skyrocketed, far outpacing wage growth, leaving many residents struggling to keep a roof over their heads. This stark reality underscores the urgent need for comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of homelessness in Atlanta. To truly understand the homelessness crisis in Atlanta, we must listen to the voices of those who have experienced it firsthand. Their stories, often heartbreaking yet infused with resilience, paint a vivid picture of the human toll of this crisis. Take, for instance, the story of Sarah, a single mother who found herself homeless after losing her job as a waitress. With limited savings and facing a competitive rental market, she struggled to find affordable housing that would accommodate her and her 2 young children. Forced to make impossible choices, Sarah and her children spent months bouncing between shelters, their lives in constant flux. Then there's Michael, a veteran who served his country with honor but returned home to face a different battle, one against homelessness. Suffering from PTSD and lacking adequate support networks, Michael found himself adrift, struggling to navigate the complexities of civilian life. He eventually ended up on the streets, his sacrifices for his country seemingly forgotten. These stories, while unique in their details, share a common thread, a system that often fails those most in need. They highlight the human cost of policy failures, inadequate resources, and societal indifference. By amplifying these voices, we can begin to dismantle the stigma surrounding homelessness and work towards solutions that prioritize dignity, compassion, and opportunity for all. Poverty stands as the insidious undercurrent fueling Atlanta's homelessness crisis. It's a vicious cycle. Poverty increases the risk of homelessness, and experiencing homelessness makes it incredibly difficult to escape poverty's grip. This intricate web traps individuals and families, perpetuating a cycle of hardship that can span generations. Stagnant wages and the rising cost of living create a perfect storm. Many Atlantans, even those employed full-time, find themselves struggling to afford basic necessities. A single unexpected expense, a medical emergency, or a sudden job loss can quickly unravel their delicate financial stability, leaving them teetering on the precipice of homelessness. The lack of affordable housing further exacerbates this issue. When rent consumes a disproportionate share of one's income, even a minor financial setback can be catastrophic. The scarcity of affordable housing options leaves many families with impossible choices: forego essential needs like food or health care to keep a roof over their heads, or risk losing their homes altogether. Addressing poverty is not a matter of charity, it's a matter of justice. It requires a multi-pronged approach, encompassing initiatives that promote economic opportunity, ensure livable wages, and create pathways for upward mobility. Breaking the cycle of poverty is essential to stemming the tide of homelessness in Atlanta. Section 5. The Housing Crunch, a scarcity of affordable options. The scarcity of affordable housing in Atlanta acts as a chokehold, squeezing out those most vulnerable and pushing them towards the brink of homelessness. As the city prospers and attracts new residents, the demand for housing surges, driving up prices and leaving those with limited means struggling to keep pace. The dwindling supply of affordable housing options exacerbates this crisis. The demolition of existing low-income housing units to make way for luxury developments further reduces the availability of housing options for low-income individuals and families. This displacement disproportionately impacts marginalized communities, pushing them further away from opportunity and into precarious living situations. The lack of affordable housing is not just a symptom of the problem. It is a fundamental cause of homelessness in Atlanta. Without access to safe, stable, and affordable housing, individuals and families are left vulnerable to the whims of an unforgiving housing market. Addressing the housing crisis requires a multifaceted approach, increasing the supply of affordable housing units through investments in public housing, incentivizing developers to create mixed-income communities, and implementing rent control measures are just a few steps towards alleviating the housing burden on Atlanta's most vulnerable residents. Section 6. Systemic barriers, navigating a labyrinth of challenges. For individuals experiencing homelessness in Atlanta, navigating the path back to stability can feel like traversing a labyrinth of systemic barriers. Discriminatory practices, bureaucratic hurdles, and a lack of accessible resources create formidable obstacles, hindering their efforts to rebuild their lives. Discrimination based on race, ethnicity, criminal history, or even homelessness itself can prevent individuals from accessing housing, employment, and essential services. Landlords may be hesitant to rent to individuals with past evictions or criminal records, perpetuating a cycle of instability. Navigating the complex web of social services can be overwhelming, especially for those already grappling with the trauma of homelessness. Long wait lists, fragmented services, and a lack of coordinated care can leave individuals feeling lost and discouraged, further eroding their hope for a brighter future. Dismantling these systemic barriers is crucial to effectively addressing homelessness in Atlanta. This requires a commitment to dismantling discriminatory practices, streamlining access to essential services, and fostering a more inclusive and equitable society that provides opportunities for all. Section 7. Housing First, a beacon of hope for Atlanta's homeless. Amidst the complexities of Atlanta's homelessness crisis, the Housing First approach emerges as a beacon of hope. This evidence-based model prioritizes providing permanent, stable housing as the foundation for addressing the multifaceted challenges faced by individuals experiencing homelessness. Unlike traditional models that require individuals to meet certain conditions before accessing housing, Housing First recognizes that stable housing is a fundamental human right and a prerequisite for addressing other issues. By providing immediate access to housing without preconditions, this approach empowers individuals to stabilize their lives, regain their dignity, and focus on their well-being. Studies have consistently shown that Housing First is not only morally just, but also cost-effective. By reducing reliance on emergency services, healthcare costs, and interactions with the criminal justice system, Housing First ultimately saves taxpayer dollars while creating a more compassionate and equitable society. Atlanta must embrace Housing First as a cornerstone of its strategy to combat homelessness. By investing in the creation of permanent supportive housing units and prioritizing housing as a fundamental right, the city can create a pathway for individuals and families to exit homelessness and rebuild their lives. Section 8. The role of government, local and federal policies in focus. Addressing homelessness in Atlanta requires local and federal efforts. Policy decisions impact resources and interventions. Local government implements housing first initiatives, allocates funding for affordable housing, and coordinates services for the homeless. Collaboration with community organizations is key. Local leaders can create a supportive environment. Federal action provides funding for homeless programs, expands healthcare access, and addresses systemic issues. Investing in these areas prevents homelessness. Recent federal policy decisions raise concerns. Reducing funding has devastating consequences, exacerbating the crisis. Effective solutions require sustained commitment. Local and federal governments must prioritize the vulnerable and invest in evidence-based solutions. Section 9. A call to action towards a more equitable and compassionate Atlanta. Atlanta's homelessness crisis is not an unsolvable problem. It requires compassionate policies, community engagement, and a commitment to social justice. Shift the narrative from blame to empathy and understanding. Recognize that anyone can experience homelessness. Demand action from elected officials. Advocate for affordable housing and housing-first policies. Hold officials accountable. Volunteer, donate, and challenge discrimination. Together we can create a city where everyone thrives. Let us build an Atlanta that reflects our shared humanity,